We began to challenge students with their learning, and once again by setting those explicit goals. We also looked at ways of supporting the low achieving children as well, and once again that was through some of those open-ended tasks. We don't do them all the time, but once or twice a week, or maybe once a fortnight, depending on what we're doing. And they've also got those maths computer programs on the network to go on with as well. And then Peter visited our school in March, where he modelled lessons across the P to 2 to 3 to 4 and 5-6 units. The teachers from those units observed lessons, and then we had time to discuss with Peter their observations and any queries that they had. And Peter supplied us with, I think it was about 10 or so questions that we had to look at when Peter was actually taking the grade, and we had to actually observe the lesson. You know, what was the focus of the lesson? Was it stated? What went better than you expected? What could be done better next time? And so on. Were high expectations communicated? So we had to sort of watch Peter, look at the children and observe. And I think we're using those for our teacher observation as well. Okay. Oh, done all right. Should have kept up with. We're also trying to incorporate the 5 E's into our planning, not only just in numeracy, but right across every curriculum area. We're constantly trying to improve relationships with all students, which is very important. We're exploring just as many varieties of teaching methods that we can, and we reflect on our teaching, and from that we try to improve our skills as well. Now the next one. Once again, we challenge the students. We try and use open-ended tasks and try and use real-life situations where possible. Yeah, and the staff attended the AiZ Primary Maths Days facilitated by Sue, and I'm just going to introduce you now to Loretta, who's in charge of numeracy at Ruthven. She's been to our school for 2 years now. Is that correct? Yep. And has taken on the big task of numeracy. I've been doing the literacy as well and giving Loretta a bit of a hand with it. Loretta has attended all the PD sessions run by Sue and has returned to the school just full of enthusiasm, and has conducted quite a number of PD sessions for staff based on those sessions. So I'll hand over to Loretta now. Thank you. Do you want me to press that button?
So the down button does the whole page.
Do you want me to press it?
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. Yeah, so I'll just go through some of our progress so far. I probably will repeat a little bit of what Kent said, but we'll just move along. The maths assessment schedule has been looked at as a whole school, but we still need to do more about that. In fact, probably an overriding thing is we've begun to look at a lot of things, but we need to constantly revisit, and it's just a huge job, so it's all ongoing at the moment. Actually, if I go back up to that, the use of the VCAA on-demand testing in March and May supported teacher planning. Also this term we participated in the ALPs, or the Assessment Learning Partnership, with the University of Melbourne. At the beginning of the year, we did identify students for ILPs, individual learning plans, and towards the middle and end of the year, we have been holding PLT meetings, the professional learning team meetings. We have basically 2 teams, a 3-4 team and a 5-6 team. All the other staff, the P2 and specialty teachers, were allocated to one of those teams. We started off with literacy and numeracy for high, middle and low achievers, but we decided to just focus on the numeracy as that was our school's priority and to fit in with our meeting schedule. We've started a peer observation process where key questions are addressed, such as what was the focus of the lesson, what went better than you expected, what could be done better another time. And we had protocols set up which really helped to make it a non-judgmental and positive process, both for the observer and for the teacher. The teacher filled in the first A4 page, and on that page would be the goal of the lesson and also what specifically they would like the observer to look at. The observer filled in during the lesson their observations, and then that got to be discussed pretty much straight after the lesson. Alan scheduled us so that we could have time to talk about it pretty much straight after the lesson. And it really did focus on the observations. Sorry, I forgot to click here. So that was about those protocols for the observer and the teacher. Yeah, as Kent said, I represented Ruthven at the Sue Gunningham PD. And this year, as a result of that, also partly to do with that, we've begun developing our whole school numeracy plan. And this has meant acknowledging the need to start at the preps, looking at what the preps learn and what we want our year sixes to have learnt. And then this will be reflected should be reflected in our annual planners, our term planners, and our weekly planners. The guiding principles for all maths lessons are being developed. I'll explain that more in a moment. And an explicit lesson structure has been trialled, of which I'll share a personal example of that in a moment. That's the warm-up, launch, explore, summary format. As a whole staff, we've had in-depth discussions about the guiding principles for all math lessons that Gunningham and Sullivan recommend. The results of those discussions you'll start to see here. It's very much a draft format. The italic shows more of the things that really need to be discussed more. The first 3 points we were able to tick off fairly quickly. We agreed. There wasn't any disagreement. We all agreed maths should be taught regularly and preferably in the morning. And the top bit in bold about each lesson having a clear purpose. We agreed that there are a limited number of lessons, so that each lesson and so much to cover, so each lesson needs to have that purpose. Point 3 and 7, which you'll see 7 on the next slide, overlap a little bit. Alan did release us one day to discuss the minimum essential concepts and skills that we really think every year level should know before, so that they are ready for the next year level. But we're also, I'm thinking we'll need to downsize that a little bit to say 5 key things we want each year level to know, and that will be focused on, could be perhaps focused on in number 3, the number skills, the 10-minute warm-up time to reinforce those skills. 5, we're still discussing about how to cater for those various abilities, the question Peter was posing earlier. And 6 is just about grouping students. 7, as I was saying, is about those minimum essential concept skills that we will require each year level to know. And then 8 to 12, we still need to discuss about assessment tools, our language and beliefs, the way support staff can be used and other things, homework, and the planning documentation. We're yet to develop a consistent template. But especially for our term planners, I think we would like to have that across the school.